Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power Man podcast. My name is Rory Paquette. I know you know that. But I just like to remind myself, above and beyond everything else, how grateful I am to be sitting in this chair, folks. When we made the move to 7 days a week on content, you folks just showed up like beyond my wildest dreams. I thought maybe I was getting a little crazy, but you folks really did. You're liking, you're sharing, you're subscribing. The DMs, oh my goodness, folks, I'm going to get caught up on the DMs. I promise. It's coming. Don't worry. But wow, just wow. You guys have been great. And because you're out there doing what you're doing, I get to sit here doing what I'm doing. And so to thank you for that, I promise you, I'm going to keep bringing powerful men to you with powerful stories, just like the gentleman we have today. So you guys are gonna get your money's worth, I promise. All right, now, if you're a friend of the program, and I know you are, you know what time it is. That's right. It's time to get a sip of my preferred beverage. Oh my gosh. Good stuff. You guys all know what we're drinking. That's right. It's Freedom Hill Coffee at Freedom Hill Coffee on Instagram. Look them up, check them out. Deep, dark, rich, bold, and beautiful. Just like my wife. They do all the right things for all the right reasons, and they support veterans, folks, which is one of the biggest reasons why we support them. For all you veterans out there, folks, we thank you and your families for your service. We love you, and we're glad that you found a home here with the Power Man podcast. Folks, Freedom Hill Coffee at Freedom Hill Coffee on Instagram. Go check them out, look them up, and tell them Power Man sent you. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get one more sip of this beautiful stuff so I can keep up with this young buck on the other side of the table from me. There we go. He's got his beverage. He's ready to go. All right. We're ready to rock and roll, folks. Please welcome to the show. He's a transformation and purpose leader, speaker, and author of The Purpose Driven Influencer, a soulful guide to authentic living and leading from the heart. Please welcome Jimmy Jean. Jimmy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I feel like clapping for that introduction.
I appreciate you, man. You're worth every word. You are worth every word. Listen, we got a lot to get into today, I know, and I can't wait to hear all about everything you're doing. Give everybody an idea, though, who is Jimmy Jean? What are you about? And what got you started going down this path, man?
Mm, man, well, first, Roy, I just want to say thank you for having me here today. Thank you for this platform. When I heard the name, The Power of Man, I said I had to be on this podcast. I think conversations like this are necessary for men. There is no power of a man without empowerment. And so everything you're doing is necessary work. And I just want to say thank you for this opportunity for me to share my story. A little bit about me. My name is Jimmy Jean, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, by a single mom. And I'm a husband. I'm a father of a 3-year-old who's keeping my wife and I on our toes. And I'm also too a brand new author of this book called The Purpose Driven Influencer, which is out September 30th. It's a big day. It's a great opportunity in my life right now, and I'm super excited. But yeah, and so the book is really about helping people move from uh, instead of focusing on popularity, how can you focus on purpose? Instead of just drifting, how can you lead with more intention in your life? And so that's a little bit about me. How did I get started with this work? I think for me, my life hit rock bottom. And I think whenever you hit rock bottom, is either you go all the way down or you can go back up. And so fortunately for me, I had some really great people in my life who saw potential in me when I didn't. And I think they spoke to my greatness and my potential. And I always say sometimes you have to believe in someone else's belief in you until your own self belief kicks in. And so once that self belief in myself started kicked in, that's when I took over the reins. I doubled down on personal development, fell in love with personal development, reading books and YouTube, all those things. And you know all the greats, the Zig Ziglars, the John C. Maxwell, the Les Browns of the world. Those guys became my mentors, and so and that's how I started this work and this journey and this path to becoming who I am today.
Brother, power to you. That's I understand. I understand completely, and I love the way you phrase that too. Sometimes you have to believe in others'
Yeah,
belief in you when you don't have it
yeah,
in yourself. That's
absolutely.
that's something. Now, I know that you were raised by a single mom, didn't really have a
Yeah.
dad presence. Where'd you learn that from?
Ooh. Repeat that question for me, Rory.
Yeah, sure. I know you were raised by a single mom, didn't really have a
Yeah,
father presence, and
yeah,
I get that. That hits me hard too.
yeah,
But where did you learn that idea from? That sometimes you have to, believe in the confidence of others in you when you don't have it in
yeah,
yourself.
yeah. I had a really great mentor in my life, and I remember she used to always say, "You're the greatest." Every time we would talk, she said, "You're the greatest." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? You're the great." Every conversation would end, "You're the greatest." And I think, that became an affirmation that she put on my life, right? And I think affirmations are, and that's why I fell in love with affirmations as well too. And I think sometimes when we say affirmations, we say it in the mirror, "I'm great," right? You say it for the first time, and then your mind says, "You don't believe that," right? But affirmations are like seeds, right? The day you plant the seed is not the day you see the result. And so the more this person started speaking to my life, and "You're the greatest," every conversation would end, "You're the greatest." And all of a sudden, I started to believe. I started to believe, man, like maybe I am great. And what it made me do is I became curious about that greatness. Right. I became curious. I started asking questions. I started reading books. I started to double down on personal development. I started to seek out mentors. And so it became from an affirmation to more of a confirmation of what already existed inside of me. And so that's where the idea of you have to believe in someone else's belief in you until your own self belief kicks in started for me.
Nice. Now, as I've been reading your story, and looking into, who Jimmy Jean is, you've got this, you weren't handed stuff, man. I mean, you've earned your way to being able to speak here today.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Mm.
started like, was it mopping floors in a hotel and then like worked your way up? Tell us about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So no way. I had to earn everything I have today. Um, you know, so I have a hospitality background. And so I remember my first hospitality job when I really wanted to get into the hospitality industry. And so my first job was I was an overnight houseman. And so I started off, I was my responsibilities were mopping the floors, make sure the exterior of the hotel was cleaned, make sure the toilet bowls were clean. And I said to myself, if I'm going to clean toilet bowls, I'm going to be the best toilet bowl cleaner that they ever seen in this place. I was always taught that what you do, whether people are watching or not, that you have to show up with excellence. And so I did my job with excellence, and what it taught me is that integrity is who you are when nobody's watching. And I think that was actually the training ground for everything I am today. I don't think there's nothing in our journey is ever wasted. And I always believe that there's no such thing as an average job, just people who have an average approach towards their job. And so I showed up to the best of my ability. And within 2 years of actually 6 months after I got that job, they got rid of the job. They got rid of the position, but they didn't want to get rid of me. I was like, oh, thank goodness, I still got a job. And so I became a host for the restaurant. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting because once I became a host, because let me backtrack just a little bit. As an overnight houseman, right? Nobody sees you, right? All the executives, they come in at 9 a.m. in the morning. I'm out by my shift was I come in at 11 p.m. I'm out of there by 7 a.m. in the morning. So all the executives are coming at 9 a.m. The general manager. So no one saw me. All right. I was pretty much invisible, but I didn't work as a person who was invisible. And so once they got rid of that position, I became the host with the most, right? I always say the handshake of the host determines the flavor of the roast, right? I was the guy who would set the tone and the atmosphere when I would welcome everybody. And so now, as people started to see me, they saw my skill set and my gift for serving on display. And then within 2 years, I became an executive for that hotel. But that all started with me taking that job as mopping the floors, right? Seriously, and doing that to my best of ability. And so that's one of my favorite stories and one of my favorite parts of my story because it's no difference between what I'm doing now and what I was doing then. And so, yeah,
Hmm. To have that work ethic like built into you though is just
mm,
something that really it's almost become a lost art. Because men and
yeah,
especially the younger generation of men
uh,
today, uh,
oof,
some of them have a really hard time grasping that
yeah,
idea.
yeah,
That no matter what I'm doing, I have to treat it like it's really important, even if nobody else is telling me that it's
yeah,
important. So, I mean,
absolutely.
that's not something that just happens either. So, is this from your mentor or from your mom, or I mean, where did that come in,
Uh,
man?
man, I saw that was modeled to me. Um, my mother, she was, that gets me emotional every time I talk about this story. But my mom was one of the hardest working people I've ever seen, to the point of her detriment, to the point where it affected and impacted her health, because she neglected herself so much so, trying to take care of me and my sisters. But yeah, my mom she drove a cab in New York City, and I used to watch her wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and she wouldn't come home till maybe sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning the next day, and she would do it all over again, and no complaining. And I would see sometimes she was tired, but she wouldn't complain, and she would do what she had to do. Right? It's that saying: you sometimes you have to do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. And I think just to keep the bills and the lights on and, um, keep a roof over our heads, she did that. And so when it was time for me to work hard, I used to say, what are the excuses, right? Like what are my excuses? Like I've seen it firsthand model what hard work looks like. And one of the things that my mom and all the powerful women in my life have, my aunt and my grandmother, what they instilled in me. I'm Haitian. My family's from Haiti, and there's something about us that have this resilience about us. And my mother used to always tell me, there's a saying in Creole where she would go, "Forget nena figu," right? That the translation of that means you gotta have a nose on your face. She said, when people see you don't want them to give them an opportunity to say, you see that guy, Jimmy? He always has his hands out. He doesn't work hard, right? He's always asking for the easy way out, right? And so she used to always drill that in my head. Don't ever let people talk about you in that light. And so I just carried myself with that energy that I don't want to ever be the guy who's known who didn't work hard. And so I just carried myself with that energy and that mindset. And that's what has helped me throughout my life.
Wow, nice, nice. I can appreciate that. The just wow, man. Whenever I talk to somebody, I talk to many men on this show
Yeah.
who have a lot of the same beliefs that you and I both share.
Yeah.
And just in a short period of time talking to you, I know that we do. Most of us had some sort of issue with our father at some point, and we're out here kind of trying to either make up for it or, succeed in spite of it, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know that for me, I wanted to be better than my dad for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I'm always curious when I'm talking to men like you, who are out here
Yeah.
and are really trying to make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
Is that something that motivates you, or are you past that? I mean, how has that and that situation impacted where you are today?
Yeah. Well, my father, our relationship is non-existent, and for a very long time, I carried the pain and the hurt, from not having that relationship, and it caused a lot of trauma. Felt rejected, felt not wanted at certain points in my life, and my dad he had his demons. He dealt with, alcohol abuse and all sorts of things and certain lifestyle that he was living that that caused him to, uh, he wasn't able to be present, and he wasn't able to be the dad. And but I learned, there's no such thing as illegitimate children. There's only illegitimate parents. And so, I just remember just a quick story. Our relationship was so disconnected. There were times where he would buy me things, and I remember him buying me a cologne one time. And so instead of giving it to me, he actually gave it to my mother to give it to me. And that's how disconnected of a relationship that we had. And so for a very long time, there was a lot of anger and frustration and hurt towards him. But as I started to dive deep into the healing work and the inner work through therapy and reading uh, and making sure that, you know what, I don't want to, because pain um, that is not that is not transformed is normally passed on, I would say. And so I was just really uh, hell bent on just making sure that I became a better version of myself. And so, and then through that work, I realized that we're all victims of victims, right? And so I just had to understand that maybe, just maybe, that he couldn't give me what I needed if he didn't have what he needed as a kid and as a man. And so that took a lot of compassion, right? A lot of healing work. You don't just get there overnight. And then there are times where there's flare ups, right? There's flare ups where I have moments, right? Where like I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, and you have these moments because now as a father, right, to a 3-year old boy, and it's funny how God works, right? It's like having my son, it feels like I'm healing my inner child at the same time, right? And there's a reason why I have a son, and so whenever I'm having these moments with him, I'm like, man, like how can someone not be in their child's life? It's the most precious and the most greatest blessing there is. But I had to forgive my dad, and I love him. And if I saw him today, I would hug him. I would hug him because I know that he is broken. I know that he's in need of healing. He's in need of love. And I think so just doing that work on myself has given me a lot of compassion for him. And I'm a better man because I'm a better father and a man because of that work.
Wow. You know what? Congratulations and power to you. Just the phrases you're using. I can tell you've done a lot of this work already, and I'm glad I asked the question because a lot of men get stuck there. We all
Yeah,
we all have
yeah,
flare ups. We all have the flare up, man. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
we all
yeah,
have that moment where we're like, you react and then you go, yeah, it probably
yeah,
wasn't the best way to react. Let
yeah,
me try and back that up. But to be
yeah,
present, to be cognizant of all that, and to know that
yeah,
it's there, and to be actively keeping it in check. That's huge. That's
yeah,
really huge. I'm glad to
yeah,
hear that you're also, thinking really hard about like your relationship with your son, because God gives us what we need, right? So you needed a son, obviously, to work through some of your
yeah.
stuff too.
Tell me about it. Well, I remember the day I found out I was having a son. There was so much anxiety. Oh my God. Where I talk about flare up, all the stuff that I thought I was like, I'm good that I dealt with, like my father issues, right, daddy. They all started coming to the surface. I was like, I got on the phone. I called my therapist. I'm like, yo, when are you available for a session? Because he didn't even come into the world yet. But when I found out it was the son, I was like, really? Oh my God. All right. So there's a lot of more work I have to do. And I'm still in the work. I'm still doing the work, and it's okay. It's okay. This is the work that I'm called to do.
Nice, nice. The if you don't, and you always have the right to say pass on a question, but I'm
Yeah,
curious because I've talked to, like I said, a lot of men who go through a lot of this stuff, and everybody
yeah,
has a different answer. So
yeah.
has it sounds like therapy has been a positive experience for you.
Yes,
Am I getting
it
that? Okay.
has.
Do you
Oh,
mind just
absolutely.
just maybe expounding? I mean, of course, nothing personal, but
Yeah.
how has it been positive for you? Because man, heard so many stories the other way.
I think it's giving me a space to. I think a lot of times as men, right, maybe we're not comfortable speaking to another man. And maybe, sometimes we just need an unbiased voice, I think. And for me, therapy has allowed me to shine a spotlight on my triggers. I think triggers are really messengers where there's that tells us that there's more work to do, and also too why I do certain things. I think there's a saying that what's hysterical is historical. And it's one of the phrases that I learned in therapy is, for example, if you and I are at the grocery store and we both go reach for the last banana, right? And I grab the banana and you fall out, right? And you're crying and you're having a tantrum, right? Like, is it really about the banana, or maybe you're just used to getting the short end of the stick in your life? And so I think therapy has allowed me to just dive deep into like what is really going on here? Why are you reacting the way you're reacting? And so that's some of the work that I've been doing.
Nice. I like bananas, man.
You're not gonna get my banana, man. That last banana is mine.
I love the analogy. I really do. Is it really about the banana, or are you just
Yeah,
used to getting the
yeah,
short end of the stick? That's
yeah.
amazing. I'm glad to hear that that's been a positive thing for you. That's very, very cool. So congratulations on that.
Thank you,
Um,
my friend.
somewhere along the way here, you decide I'm going to go ahead and put all this stuff down in writing. Now I know it's coming out
Yeah,
September 30th. So I
yes,
mean,
sir.
as of recording, this podcast is not out yet. But when
Yeah,
it comes out, it will have been released. And
yeah,
so it's the purpose-driven influencer, a
yeah.
soulful guide to authentic living and leading from the heart. So when did you start that, and what is this about? What can people expect here?
So this idea of the book was born out of necessity for me. You know, I've always lived a life of purpose, and I never needed a platform or feedback to know that I was living on purpose, right? But then the world of technology and social media came along, and I remember when I first opened up a social media account, my wife, with the encouragement of my wife, see, it's her fault. Uh, and she said, hey, won't you just share some of these quotes that you wrote, some of this inspiration? I think it would be good for people to be inspired by some of the things that you wrote. And all of a sudden, when I opened up my first Instagram account, I quickly realized, hold up, this gift of motivation that I have, I'm not the only one who shares that same gift. And all of a sudden, these feelings of comparison and
Mhm.
competition started to come up, and I'm like, what? Like, I did not need this in my life. I did not need. I was cool with, like, calling up my friend. Maybe he needs a prayer. Maybe he needs a quote or something like that, and I'm inspiring him. Like, I'm good, right? And I felt like the new kid on the block. You go to school and you don't have any friends, right? But the only one friend I had was my wife. She was the only follower that I had, and she liked every post, right? She made a big deal about everything. And so fast forward, I realized I want something that's going to ground me and be my anchor, right? I don't want likes to dictate whether or not I feel like I'm on purpose. I don't want likes to dictate my worth or my creativity. And so, the idea came in a revelation one night. I was home, and in the quietness of my living room, boom, the idea just came to me, the purpose driven influencer. And I realized that if I'm dealing with feelings of like competition and feeling like, you create something so beautiful and you put it out to the world and you're not getting the feedback that you want, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people that feels that way. And so and I remember reading a quote that said, if there's a book that you want to read but it hasn't been written yet, you must be the one to write it. And so I literally created what I needed for myself. And now I get to share it as an offering to the world. And so the book is really about leading with intention. I think the word influence has become synonymous with fame and notoriety and popularity, all the shallow stuff. And so I think the word it's ready for a reset of what it truly means, which for me is really about serving, right? It's adding value to the world and putting out good into the world. So this book is really about a reset for a lot of people of the word influencer. And influence is not about how big your platform is. It's not about how many followers you have. Is how can you make a difference in the lives of others and lead with more intention.
Nice. Nice. Honestly, as soon as I saw the word influencer in the title, it's exactly what I thought. That's where my brain went. I was like, okay, influencer, social media. Gotcha.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love
But
that that's not what it is. Yeah.
yeah, but it also talks about how can you lead, how can you use your influence offline. I think I believe that our greatest influence is offline. It's not online. It's the people that you can touch, right? I think sometimes we get so caught up in the strangers that we can't even touch, right? But it's the everyday people, right? It's influence is really about, when you maybe you it's your family member that needs you. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in trying to inspire the masses that we miss out on the people that are within our reach every single day that needs us, right? And so to me, I just try to make sure that it's not about who I am online, who am I offline. I think alignment, and also to alignment, is when your influencer persona online matches up with who you are offline. And I think when you have that alignment, I think that is the power of influence.
Nice. Nice. Okay. As you're writing this book,
Yeah,
who are you writing this book to?
that's a great question. I was writing this book for me. I was also writing this book for my inner child. Um, I was writing it for the younger version of me that was filled with so much doubt as a kid, that didn't think he was good enough, that didn't think he was worthy enough. Um, and so there was a lot of healing as I was revisiting some of these stories. So, and no one's ever asked me that question, but I love it because I was writing it for this current version of me, but I also was writing it for that version of me that said that got left back in third grade, right? That um, you know, that was in the special class, right? And just felt like I couldn't learn, I wasn't smart enough, and so I wrote it for him. I wrote it for that 5-year-old version of me, um, that needed his dad, that needed someone to speak into his life. And I wrote it for him. And this book has been so much, it has brought so much healing and assurance and confidence. And yeah, I wrote it for him. I wrote it for him.
Nice. Nice.
Thank you for asking that
Nice.
question.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for answering that question. Not everybody wants to, I think, sometimes, but I appreciate you, getting real authentic and honest on that too. Um, Very cool, man. I'm looking forward to reading this when it comes out. The you raise yourself up through this hard work and this hard work mentality, and go out and earn what you want, that type of thing. You're doing it in the hotel industry, hospitality, so on and so
Yeah,
forth. At
yeah,
what point in your life are you sitting there and you're toiling away and you're getting maybe starting to get some of the fruits of your labor back? You're going, hey, I'm getting a little ahead. I'm moving up through the ranks. At what point do you say, I want to go be a life coach and I want to teach, like other people this kind of thing? Or
yeah.
was that always on your heart to teach other people?
I think it was, the gifts and talents has always been there. Um, I think as one of the promises that I made to myself as I started to get my life together, I said to myself that if I can just get to a place where um, I'm a functional human being, right? And I said to myself that I would become a messenger of purpose. And I think that I've always been taught that what you go through in life is never for you, right? It's for that person who you're going to meet, who's going to need the wisdom of your story. And so um, we are always most qualified to help the person that we used to be. And that's a saying, that's a quote that I live by, right? We are all qualified. We are most qualified to help the person that we used to be. And I know that there are a lot of Jimmys out there who's the former version of me that I can help. I'm not saying that I can help everybody, but I know that there's someone that needs what I have. And so as I started to grow and make changes in my life, this desire to help others started to blossom.
Hmm. Nice. So right now you are actually a certified life coach. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right.
sir.
So I mean, this is the direction you're going. You are, out there helping people with this. You're writing a book to, help people as well, and so on. Where, when you lie there in bed at night and you're like, hey, this is, who I am. This is what I've accomplished. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you to be able to sit back and say, if I'm here, if I've done this, if I've accomplished that, then I'm successful with this.
Mm,
What does success look like for you in the role that you've put yourself in now?
mm. Well, for me, I swapped out the word success for a different word. Uh, John C. Maxwell has a beautiful quote where he says, "Success is when you add value to yourself. Significance is when you add value to others." And so it's not even about success. I want to be known as a man who's significant. And for me, success is spelled significance. And so how that looks like is it's taking care of my family. It's being there for my wife. It's impacting the people closest to me, making sure that they're safe, making sure that they're loved. Um, and it is also sowing seeds in the lives of others as well too. Making sure that just as someone spoke life into me, allowed me to believe in my greatness, is me speaking life into them. Um, and it's also to making sure that I'm developing my God-given potential. Right? I think God's gifts to us is our potential, but our gift back to God is developing it. And I know that I didn't always know this, but I believe that I'm God's greatest investment. And my life's work is to make sure that He gets a return back on His investment.
Nice. Excellent viewpoint. Love that. And let's go back to the book for a second. The book
Yeah.
is your story. Is it educational? Is it actionable steps to help
Oh
people
yeah.
make these changes? Dig into that just for a minute if you can. Don't give away the secret sauce. We still want people to buy the book, but give us an idea if you can.
The book is it's a combination of everything. It's a little bit of my story. It's actionable steps. There's some humor in there. There's some things that's going to make you cry. There's some things that's going to make you think. Um, there's a lot of things that's going to inspire you and motivate you. So it's a personal development book, but it's a combination of all those things.
Okay, nice. At its heart, it's a personal development book.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Just so people have an idea of what it is they're looking to buy when they go out there for the the big drop when it comes at the end of September. So
Yes.
the I have a few more questions for you, of course, but as long as we're talking about it, tell everybody how they can get the book. Are you doing a pre-order or are they waiting
Oh
until
yeah.
it comes
Oh
out? Give
yeah.
me an idea.
It's actually available for pre-order right now, and it's out September 30th. That day is going to be a big day. I'm going to be on live TV that day, and I'm going to do Barnes and Nobles. We're doing a book signing in Brooklyn later that afternoon, and so it's going to be a monumental day and just a day of of realizing that dreams are possible. And not only for me, but I think that anytime you achieve a dream, it gives people permission to believe that their dreams are also possible. And so I know that a lot of the spotlight is going to be on me, but I'm going to make sure that it's right back on others.
Nice. Nice. So are you working with a publisher on this book or are you self-publishing?
Oh no, yeah, I have a publisher. Author Academy Elite is my
Nice.
publisher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they a hybrid publisher or are they a full out publisher?
Oh yeah. Full publisher. Full publisher.
All right. Good
So
for you.
the book will be available on Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, Walmart, anywhere books are available.
That's fantastic. I mean, that must have been quite a journey finding a publisher for this thing.
Absolutely. And also too, just not just the publisher, but I think getting to this point, I think um, I'm grateful for the people that helped me. I don't think you can, they say if you can do your dream alone, then your dream is not big enough. This dream was too big, too big for me to do it alone, and so I'm grateful for the people who pushed me. Even on days when I didn't want to write, my wife would be like, "Hey, just give me just write three sentences," and all of a sudden it's like I write three sentences. All of a sudden I'm writing a paragraph, and so it's definitely been a journey. There's what people don't know is that I quit on this book a lot of times. There was, there were times where I wrote the book, I started writing and I quit. I was like, you know what? I didn't write for 3 months, 4 months, and then you get that person that asks you, hey, whatever happened to that book that you was writing? I'm like, ah, why did I tell anybody that I was writing a book? And but that created a positive pressure, right, for me. And just people just kind of throw as I threw the towel away. You throw the towel, just give up and surrender. I had people throwing that towel back in my face. It's like, keep going, man. Keep going, keep going. And so I kept going, and here we are. Here we are today.
Nice, nice. How long did it take you? I mean, from beginning through all the pressures and all the throwing the towel in, how long did it take
My,
you to get there?
minus the quitting, the procrastination, the doubt, the fear, the imposter syndrome. Um, it took a year. It took a year.
Okay.
Um, and what's crazy is that for a whole year I sat on the book. I had it. It was done.
Oh,
It was done. It was done. And so it took mustering up the courage to get it there, to get it here. Now like this morning I woke up and I said to myself, am I really doing this? Am I really doing this? And you have these moments where it's like doubt, and it's like, yeah, you are supposed to be doing this. You are supposed to be doing this. And so I'm just grateful, man. I'm really grateful for the journey. I'm excited for people to read it. And I'm also excited for people to get their own interpretation of what a purpose-driven influencer means to them.
nice. We have a lot of fathers, a lot of husbands who listen to this program. We are 90% men. I mean, it's very, very strong male following on our show, of course.
Power
Um,
man.
yeah, you got it. Absolutely right. Um, as you've gone through your own process, from, like I said, starting, at the bottom, hotel industry, working your way up, going through all of the healing you had to go through to get here, the writing and the stopping and the writing of the book. As you've gone through all this stuff and now becoming a father yourself, um, what is one thing? I'd love to say the biggest thing, but there's tons of stuff we learned. So, what's one thing that stands out to you that you've learned about being a father through this whole process that you've been through in your life, that you can share with other fathers that may help them out to maybe take a step towards being a better father tomorrow than they are today?
Yeah. I think that what I've learned is that at the end of the day, your kids are not they're not concerned about like all the toys and all the external stuff. I think like what kids want and what being a father taught me is that all your son or your daughter wants you to be is present, right? It's not the presence, it's the presence. And I think for my son, he's so silly. Like he always wants to play, right? And it's just like, yesterday, daddy, let's tag, and chasing him around the house. And but these are the moments that will be forever remembered. And I think it's just really about being present with our children. I think it is something that I didn't have, right? Growing up, my dad wasn't present, he wasn't around. And so I just, my job is to make sure that I'm that cycle breaker. And I always believe that, as men, we may not have come from a healthy family, right? But your job is to make sure that a healthy family comes from you. And so that's the work that I'm continuing to do. And it's really about, like I said, just being present. And if he wants me to be silly, if he wants me to get down on my knees, and he wants a piggyback ride, right? We're doing that. Whatever you want to do, we're doing that. And so that's what fatherhood has taught me. It's that presence is what really matters.
Nice. Nice. All right, I love that, man. What does your wife say about the book coming out and everything else? I assume she's, a supportive spouse because you just have this smile that's like, all the way across your face. I mean, you don't seem like someone who doesn't have a good home life backing you up.
Listen, listen. There is no purpose-driven influencer without the purpose-driven wife.
There you
It,
go.
this book does not exist. My wife saw this book in the infancy stage. I remember, quick story, when we first started dating. I remember one time we had a conversation, and I'm in my apartment, and you know, and she said, "What is your biggest dream?" Right? And at the time, I had a little vision board up above my bed, and when she asked me that, I turned around and I looked at the vision board, and I said, "To be an author one day." And she said, "I believe you." She said, "You're going to do that." And then she said, "We're going to do that." And here we are today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Plus, it's always a good idea to give the wife a shout out during a podcast. You
Listen,
know,
I love you, baby.
there it is. There it is. All right. What's the biggest thing I've learned? Give my wife the shout out during the podcast. All right. I
Listen,
love it.
you know the saying, happy wife, happy life. So,
Right on. Right on. All right, brother. How can everybody contact you? First of all, find the book when it comes out. What's the best way to reach out to you on all the different levels?
yeah, again, the book is available for pre-sale right now. It's out September 30th, wherever books are sold, Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Nobles. I hang out on Instagram. You can find me at the road to purpose on Instagram. Come out and say hi and come get some inspiration.
The Road to Purpose on
The road to
Instagram.
purpose. Yes,
At The
sir.
Road to Purpose.
At
Okay,
the
I
road
got
to
you.
purpose.
On IG. Perfect. All right. And then, yeah, perfect. All right, then. Listen, as I appreciate you so much, man. I love the story that you've been telling. Love the stuff that you've learned and the fact that you're just all about sharing it with everybody else. As we kind of wrap things up here, I want to give you the floor for a minute. And
Mm.
I want to, kind of put it out there. Is there anything I didn't ask you? Is there anything that we talked about and maybe you want to double down on? Or is there a final nugget you want to leave behind, final word of advice for our audience that, really, really could benefit from your book and from, your viewpoint and everything else on this? The last minute's yours, man. Go for it.
Yeah, I wanna speak to the men who feel inadequate, who feel like their life has no purpose or no meaning, or maybe you're struggling with what does manhood really mean, and you don't have a definition for it. It's never been modeled to you. I'm going to share a scripture that really changed my perspective of what manhood and gave me the real definition of what manhood is. And it simply says that when I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, I put childish things away. And what manhood is defined as growth, progress. It's not what's in your bank account. It's not how many women you have, right? It's not the car you drive. It's not how big your house is. It's how big your heart is. It's about serving. It's about leading with intention. It's about taking ownership for your life. It's about stop being a victim, right? It's about maybe your parents were in your life, maybe your father was in your life, but there's an expiration date for what your father didn't do, what your mother didn't do. And you have to take that responsibility because the greatest ability is responsibility. And so that's what I want to say to all the men out there.
Nice. That is a great wrap up. That really is a great wrap up. I appreciate you very much, man. All right, folks, get ready. If you haven't already, bought the book during this episode, go buy it. Okay. Now that the episode's coming to a conclusion, you're listening to husband and father, transformation and purpose leader, speaker, author, author of The Purpose Driven Influencer, a soulful guide to authentic living and leading from the heart. You're listening to Jimmy Jean. Folks, go check out his book, support him, find him on Instagram. Jimmy, thank you, brother, for coming on and for sharing everything you did. It's been great having you on, man.
Thank you, man. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Folks, this is another episode of the
Thank you, my
Power
friend.
Man podcast. And the reason that we bring such powerful men on here with such powerful stories is because we are united in hoping that you regain your power to be a better protector, better provider, a better leader tomorrow than you are today, to be a better father, a better husband, a better man tomorrow than you are today. And the reason we want that for you is because you matter. It's because you have value. You
Yeah,
just have to believe it. Until next time.
absolutely. Yes, sir.